Hello, everyone. Welcome to this presentation by Trinet Internet Solutions. What a crazy time we're in right now. And we recognize there are many, many challenges to finding leads, nurturing leads, closing leads. And if that is a pain point for you, accomplishing each one of those three things, this webinar is going to be a treat. My name is Gregory Sukert, and with us, we have our presenter, Ron Weber, our Chief Operating Officer. Go ahead and say hello, Ron.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Ron is a super digital marketing ninja, and he has been in this industry a long time. How long, Ron?
A long time. How about 20 plus years? Let's put it that way.
That's right. He's like the Yoda of digital advertising. And so during this hour, we have the benefit of going through what he's learned over all these years and seeing the best practice that we've seen as a digital agency for finding leads, nurturing leads, and closing leads. If you've joined us today and you're here, go ahead and say hello in the comments. There's a little chat window on the side. Just go ahead and say hello. We'd love to welcome you. And this presentation is really all about how to stop losing leads using a digital lead generation vortex. You might be saying, what is a digital lead generation vortex? Well, you're going to want to know, and that's why we're having this presentation, because it's there. It's a mechanism, it's a process, it's a strategy that we've found that is great for attracting, nurturing, and closing leads. I see people saying hello in the comments. We see Barbara from Southern California. Hello. Hello, Rosa. Hello, Dwight. Hello, Kara. Hello, Sid. Great. As you're coming in, just feel free to say hello. We would love to welcome you, and it's excellent to have all of you there with us. So, as we get started, I do want to let you know that you can engage with us at any time during this presentation. There's the comment bar right there, and if you're on a mobile device, you can just tap that and start commenting any questions or things you have that you want to say to us. And then also on desktop, that is there for anyone to engage with us. So just look for that, type your comment bar, and feel free to engage with us at any part in this presentation. We are here for you. There is a lot of valuable information in this presentation. We worked really hard to put it together so that you can learn and benefit from solving this pain point of having no leads, dry leads, slow leads, leads that won't close. So we're going to address all of those things here in this presentation. And you're going to want to stay until the very end, not just because you're going to get so much value from this presentation, but also we're going to have a special gift for you, something that's going to help you in attracting, nurturing, and closing leads. So with that, let's go ahead and dive right in. A little bit about us. We are Trinet Internet Solutions, and we are headquartered in Orange County, California. We are an industry-leading, award-winning, full-service digital agency, and we have been for over 25 years. Our specialties include websites, apps, channels, and innovative digital campaigns that continue to create industry benchmarks. And we have expert capabilities in strategy, design, execution, marketing, and especially what we're all here for right now, digital lead generation. And before we continue, I just want to play you a video from one of our clients that tells more about the work that we do. So go ahead and tune in to this video.
Hi, I'm Barry McGuire. I'm the founder and the president of Revival Outside the Walls. Build a global brand, another life. We're visionaries, we're passionate. We've always worked with the best people we could possibly find to get us to where we want to go. We looked around, who's the best digital marketing company we could possibly work with? And wherever we went, we kept hearing this name, Trinet, Trinet, Trinet. And I have to tell you, we're having so much fun working with the people at Trinet. They have so much talent. I mean, we're outside the box all the time, but they're even ahead of us. And the magic that takes place in our meetings, it's just amazing. You know, we're now 2 years into this process and they're no longer a vendor. I mean, they're our friends, our buddies. They're always plussing what we're saying. I love the fact that while they are big and they have these great ideas, they get it. I mean, they fall down in detail to do everything we want to do beyond what we want to do. It's great and easy to have big ideas, but they make them happen. You know, the hotspot for us, of course, is the whole digital world, all aspects of social media. Trinet's building a phone app for us that will blow you away. It is the most exciting digital phenomena I have ever seen. There's internet TV, there's all aspects of new technology coming, and while we have great people in-house, it is the inexhaustible resources of Trinet that are going to make it possible for us to achieve our dreams. So if you have big dreams for your business, if you want to get new customers online, you want to tap into new technology, sure you can do some of yourself, but you can't do all of it. That's why you need Trinet.
Well, all right, let's jump right into the learning objectives and cover what we want to talk about today. So first off, 4 major areas I'm going to cover in here. By the way, my name is Ron Weber. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Trinet Internet Solutions. And thanks, Gregory, for that wonderful introduction. We have first define, which is defining what is a digital lead generation vortex. The second is understanding what is the structure of a digital lead generation vortex. What are the components? Third is learn. Why should you get help setting up and running a lead generation vortex? Why is it important to do it the right way? And finally, 4, question and answers. Ask any questions you have regarding setting up a lead generation vortex. So first off, let's talk about what is a digital lead generation vortex. Well, it covers the following areas. First off, how do I find leads? And using digital techniques, we're going to show you how that can be done. Secondly, how do I nurture leads so that I've not only found them, but I get engagement and I get people coming back, and ultimately I want to turn that into a business, an inquiry, a call to action. Third is, of course, how do I convert leads? How do I make sure that I provide value so that people are going to call or they're going to take that next step? And then finally, how do I retain customers? So these are all important elements of a digital lead generation vortex. And the idea behind a digital lead generation vortex on the next slide is that the concept here is that you want to create and craft a sales pipeline that's systematically designed to stimulate and capture interest in a product, a service, and for the purpose of developing sales for your business's product or service. So how do you do that? What are the tools that are available? And there may be some tools that you've never heard of or used before or even considered. So that's what we want to present today. Of course, the buying process has certainly changed with all the changes going on in the economy right now. And marketers need to get creative to find new ways to reach buyers and to get heard through the noise. So instead of focusing on one digital platform, the idea behind a vortex is to use multiple methods to attract people, combining them together in a holistic way, end to end, in order to identify, first off, second, convert, and third, nurture some continuous relationships with buyers. So let's take a look at the structure of a digital lead generation vortex. There's really three main key components. The first step is the step of seeking, qualifying, and targeting. That's the first step, making sure you're reaching the right audience, making sure you're using platforms, the right platforms, and providing something that's going to create a response. So step two is that response. It's the engaging, it's nurturing that lead, nurturing that interest, and educating to get people to the next step, which is the call to action. And then perhaps the most important step is the follow-up, getting somebody to take a call to action, but ultimately you want to turn that into a conversion or a sale. So making sure there's a follow-up mechanism that's tied end to end from step one to step two to step three is the critical part of a lead generation vortex. So I mentioned on the next slide, we talk about why it's important to take a holistic and deep approach to developing a vortex, what I call a lead generation vortex. Well, most people may be using perhaps one of these different techniques to be able to seek out leads and bring them in. But there's some issues with just using one. You have to be thinking about how they tie end to end. So it's critical to know how to use these digital tools properly so that you get optimal audience targeting. A lot of the default mechanisms are just not going to get you the best results. So it's important to know how to use those tools well. The lack of depth of understanding of how to use these platforms to find the right audience is, if not killing campaigns, it certainly is wasting money, because you're not getting the kind of response and the kind of conversions that you could possibly get. And secondly, few people are doing a good job in tying together the steps end to end and creating an automated method to be able to track it from end to end. So it's critical to do that. So we have to take the first step, tie it to step two, the seek, nurture, and engage step, and using tools such as webinars and ebooks. And very few are then taking step one and step two and tying that to a rigorous step three, which is call to action and follow up and follow through. So you need to be thinking from end to end holistically, and that's what's missing in most cases, resulting in poor throughput. So let's talk about, now on the next slide, we talk about how important it is to do that, because making sure that all the different components are working together in a coordinated way are really critical for getting the best return on investment. And there's a substantial difference if you take the individual pieces of it and you use just them versus tying them together in a holistic way. There's really a magnitude of difference in terms of return on investment. So you need to think end to end, need to think holistically, and you need to think about the entire vortex and how it works together in order to get the best possible results. And really, on the next slide, the key to success is to link and to tie those steps together. And this gives you your end-to-end vortex, which successfully attracts, then re-attracts, nurtures, closes leads on an ongoing basis. And it's important, if you don't know how to do that, get some professional help. Go find a good, we certainly provide those services. We've got tons of experience in terms of how to use these platforms to get the most out of them. So feel free. I'm going to have my contact information on the last slide. I'd be happy to answer any detailed questions that you might have, or specific questions about your business as well at the end. But get some help to do this. It'll be worth the time and the effort. So next, let's talk about the specific steps. First step one, the seek, the qualify, and the target. So in step one, there's a number of tools that we can use in order to seek, attract, and nurture. The first is display ads. And that can be done a variety of ways. This can be banners that appear on websites via display networks. We can use social media and social media advertising. And there's a variety of options there, from creating ads that show up in somebody's feed to direct outbound advertising and communication that goes directly to prospects, as one can do in LinkedIn. There's also Google AdWords. So there's a variety of search engine ads that can be used to be able to attract people. Video ads is a oft overlooked method of attracting people. And the nice thing about them is you can get very specific, as you can advertise specifically in videos that are very, very targeted and that are going to reach the right audience. So that's an oft overlooked method. And for video ads, there's pre-roll, mid-roll, or end-roll ads that you can use on YouTube. Of course, you can also use video ads on other platforms, such as Facebook and Instagram as well. Native ads are another one. I mentioned search engine ads. Native ads, usually recommended content on a web page, or perhaps it might be on a social media network. And then there's sponsored ads. There's paid ads that may be promoted by a major blog, a network, or perhaps even a partnership with an influencer. So I'm going to have Gregory talk about ways to seek out prospects online. Gregory.
So there are many ways, in addition to digital advertising, to seek out prospects online. A first one that's really important is search engine optimization, creating valuable content that will be discovered in search engines and will be interacted with for Google to pick up on that for high engagement, to continue to rank it positively in search engines. So there's search engine optimization, there's search engine marketing, and search engine marketing is really anything that has a search engine. That could be Reddit, that could be Bing, that could be YouTube. Thinking through not just Google, which is the behemoth of search engines, but all search engines, especially the search engines that our audience might be on. Our primary audience, there are some audiences that prefer Bing more than Google. So knowing those and using those in our wheelhouse and getting the data to know which ones our audience is using is so important when it comes to search engine marketing. Then we have pay per click, which is anytime we advertise and we're paying per click or per traffic that we get to our website. Then we have social media optimization. And this social media optimization really answers the questions, what tools, what social media platforms is my audience using? So many businesses have the mistake of trying to utilize every single social media. They know that Twitter is a thing, Facebook is a thing, LinkedIn is a thing, and they just say, I'm going to do all of it. And they end up doing really poorly and getting no results on any one of them. What we really recommend when it comes to social media optimization is sticking to 1 to 3 platforms that you know your audience is on, learning how your audience engages with those platforms and hitting those hard and saying no to the rest of them. That is a way that we recommend approaching social media, and it will achieve far higher results than trying to spread yourself thin on every platform. And then another is social media advertising. So taking not just a strategy on the select most used social media platforms by your audience, but then taking those tools even deeper and having more impact from them, not just from an organic perspective, but also from an advertising perspective. And knowing how to use social media advertising is huge. So many businesses think that social media advertising is simply paying $5 for Facebook to boost that post to friends of people who follow your page. but it's so much deeper than that. It's so much more advanced than that. And that's something that we recommend learning and throwing into your wheelhouse and only focusing on the social media platforms that your audience uses. Another very important component for attracting prospects is landing pages. You have landing pages, you also have microsites. And a lot of companies think, oh, I just got to send the traffic to my homepage. And if the homepage is not designed to attract and nurture people who have never heard of your business or services before, that is a terrible strategy. What we recommend is creating specific pages that are specifically designed to speak to prospects and meet them where they are at. The landing page, the copy, the creative on the page, the images, the video need to be designed to hook someone in and educate them on an introductory level. And by sending someone to the wrong page on your site or the wrong website in general, companies waste thousands and thousands of dollars. And so we really recommend taking a dedicated landing page and microsite approach. And this will put you in prime position to drive more leads and more sales. And this is not just from our experience. There are studies that actually show that marketers capture leads at higher rates by sending their traffic to dedicated landing pages rather than sending traffic to the homepage. So we really have to sit down and ask the questions. How can we take someone who has never heard of our product, who has never heard of our service, is seeing our ads for the first time, and the first thing they see when they click that ad, what does that need to be to introduce them to our brand and to get them attracted to what we have, and also being clear on what we do have, not confusing the people who land on our page. We want to be very clear. We want to be very attractive. We want to be very introductory so that we can continue the conversation and not lose traffic and lose dollars. Another key strategy diving deeper into social media targeting for prospecting is using the major components of social media targeting. And there are three major components. The first is interest-based advertising. And this is a common feature that many ad platforms have, and that is targeting people with specific interests and specific behaviors. For example, if you are a company that sells blenders or juicers, you can actually target people on many platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, who actually follow pages relating to juicing or healthy living or healthy diets. And you can add those people to your marketing campaigns and target them based on their interests. So that's a key strategy for targeting on social media. A second is lookalikes. A lot of people don't know this, but you can actually create lookalike audiences, which are audiences that social media platforms generate from seed lists that you provide. So let's go back to our juicing e-commerce business. They have juicers, they have blenders, or if you're a software company and you have software users who are paying you a monthly fee to use your platform, you can take your customer list, the people who have signed on, who have given you dollars, upload that to a social media platform and generate what's called a lookalike audience, where Facebook, Instagram, these social media platforms, LinkedIn will search their entire database of users, and they will tie the email addresses that you provide to email addresses that are on their platforms, people who are actually using them. They will look at the behaviors of those email addresses. They will look at the interests of those email addresses and those users, and they will find a whole new audience that has very similar interests, very similar behaviors. So you can be one step ahead at attracting the right audience that you need to reach. And then the third is retargeting. Once you have people to your website, once you have people using your app, your product, your service, you can create not only lookalike lists, but you can also do retargeting for those people who have been to your website, but who have not taken action. And that is really, really important, because when you have retargeting, you can continue to nurture the traffic that has already shown a measure of interest in your product or in your service. So these are the three major components of social media targeting. And if you're just liking what you're hearing so far and putting these tools together, just go ahead and type yes. Go ahead and type yes. We just want to hear from you. Just check in with you right now. Are you liking what you're learning so far? Are you liking what you're hearing? You're going to get even more. It's just getting better. So go ahead and type yes. Let us know if you're liking what you're getting right now. Some other methods for attracting prospects are content marketing. Oh, and I see some very emphatic yes from Rosa, very yes from Dwight, yes from Barbara. Yes, we love being here with you. Thank you for the positivity, and we just want to keep going, keep giving you as much value as we can. So then we have content marketing, and content marketing is the ultimate when it comes to attracting prospects. And there are several forms of content marketing that you can engage in. And we have a list of all the platforms, all the types of content that a brand or business can create. We have blogs, we have podcasts, we have webinars, we have videos, we have social media posts, we have ebooks, we have slideshows, and I'm sure you can even think of some more, but these are the major ones. And what's so significant about content marketing is that it's really one of the only ways that businesses have to generate an ongoing audience. Meaning, when a business puts out one video a week, or one blog a week, or one podcast a week, what that consistency in creating good content on a weekly basis, what that does is that builds and that compounds, and your readers from your first thing that you put out then become readers of your second thing and your third thing and your fourth thing. And now you've been doing this for a few years, and you're just reaping the benefits of a vastly loyal audience that loves your expertise and loves the content that you put out. This content is also very valuable for attracting people via search engines, via social media, via things like YouTube and podcast platforms. So the content acts not only as a attractor, but as a nurturer. It can continue to build a loyal fan base. And the more you create that is high value, whether it be blogs or podcasts or webinars, whatever it will be, the more your audience will grow. The more your audience grows and the more loyalty you have, the more conversions you'll get when at the end of a video or at the end of a podcast or at the end of a blog, you promote your business's product or services. So content marketing really is the ultimate inbound marketing practice. And when you create content, you're providing free and useful information to your audience, attracting potential customers to your website, and you're also retaining existing customers through quality engagement. When you have a customer who's paying you something on a monthly basis, if that's your product or service, or you provide things on an e-commerce store where people could buy more than one, when you provide that ongoing content, your existing customers might purchase from you again, or if they're on some sort of retainer, they'll continue to stay on that because you continue to provide great value, not only through the service or the products that they're already purchasing, but the ongoing value that you continue to provide just through content marketing. So that's why content marketing is so important. And then we have step 2. So these are all ways to engage. Now we really need to get to step 2. We did step 1, attract. We need to get to step 2, engage, nurture, and educate. So once you've introduced those leads to your brands, what do you do with them? How do you move them from hello to you're my best friend, you're my best customer? That's what we want to do. We want to talk about that bridge, that road from hello to loyal customer. And there are some amazing tools for doing that. Number 1 is live webinars. And live webinars are really one of our favorites. Why are live webinars one of our favorites? Well, they're so great because they're fun, they're interactive, you get to ask questions, you get to invite people to participate. But most importantly, they get to see you. They get to see your heart. They get to see your passion. And you don't have to get in a car and drive miles to see them. You don't have to pay a lot of money for an expensive event. You can just host an online webinar and they can see you in real time on camera, exuding your passion, exuding your heart to help, to serve, the passion that you have for your products, for your services. And that's really a medium that very few content platforms offer. But when you go live, they can see it all real time and you can answer questions and engage. So it's really just a fantastic way of engaging and nurturing people who you have attracted to your business. So live webinars provide the opportunity to teach our leads and to help them understand why our product is valuable in the first place. Webinars will allow your audience to place a name with a face and a voice with the name, and they allow you to build personal relationships and have real-time conversations, much like we're having right now, where you get to leave comments, we get to say hello, we get to welcome you by name. That's just a very, very powerful feature that really you can only do in a live format like a webinar. Another valuable tool for nurturing are automated emails. Automated emails are carefully planned emails to be sent to subscribers at specific time intervals or as a response to the actions of users on a particular website. So here's an example. Going back to e-commerce, if you're an e-commerce company, when somebody goes through the checkout process and they start to put in their email address, and let's say they don't put in their card information, they abandon. Well, with automated emails, you can actually send them personalized emails that to that email address that has in that email what they were looking at, what they had in their cart. And you could say, are you sure you don't want to purchase this? Or you can offer them a coupon and say, hey, we'll sweeten the deal. Here's 5% off if you purchase right now. And that type of automation based off of actions that people take is huge. And that really works for a lot of businesses. It works for people who provide services. You know, when people visit certain parts of your page, they sign up for your email newsletter. What's great is a lot of these email platforms have code that you can integrate on your website. So let's say you have someone on your newsletter and they are looking at your services page. Well, that email code from the software that they signed up on can be embedded on that page. It can know that right now, one of your email subscribers is looking at one of your services pages, and you can have an automated email go out to them to continue to nurture them to take action. And that is incredibly valuable for nurturing leads. So why use automated emails? Well, not just for the cool features they have, but they actually work according to the data. And according to the Epsilon Email Institute, triggered emails have a 70.5% higher open rate and 152% higher click-through rates than generic email newsletters. So when you have an email newsletter and you are integrating that with email automation to send people emails based off of the actions that they're taking on your website, that can be really powerful to nurture leads, to take them from a hello to a loyal customer. We also want to talk about influencers, and influencers are a big part of business, especially business to consumer marketing, but also can be for B2B marketing as well. But influencers really focuses on attracting new leads to your platforms. And this is always a never-ending challenge. Influencers are great because they can shortcut your ability to build trust with someone who is just exploring who you are and what you offer. Advertising through influencers allows brands to promote through someone that already has a niche community, that already has people who watch, who engage with them, and trust them on an ongoing basis. And when you work with an influencer to promote your product or service, and this could be an influencer in the business world who has a lot of followers on LinkedIn or has a big presence on in the business world on social media. And it could also work in the consumer realm. You could have consumers who have big influence in their space. And you, by partnering with them, you get them endorsing you, which causes you to instantly have trust with their audience. And so it's a shortcut for building trust, because that's one of the big challenges that companies have when trying to move someone from just being a first-time visitor to a loyal customer is trust. And so influencers help shortcut that path to trust. And instead of being skeptical of a commercial or social media ad, consumers trust that if an influencer they follow loves your product or service, they will too. And so it's a great way to not only have access to a whole new audience that you didn't have access to before, but to rapidly gain trust with them so that they are nurtured to become a customer. And diving deeper into remarketing, remarketing is any time somebody engages with your product or service, either on social media, a video they watch, on your website, and based on that action that they had in taking with you, exploring who you are, what product or service you have to offer, you actually take that and you remarket to them, you reach them again. And why that's so important is because there's a rule called the marketing rule of 7. And this marketing rule of 7 states that it takes an average of 7 interactions with your brand before a purchase will take place. And so remarketing allows you to capture the attention of your visitors, people who come to your website, people who sign up for your email list, people who follow you on social media, but who have not yet taken action. And so you're reaching them again, you're nurturing them, you're reaching them again and again, trying to get to 7 touch points as quickly as you can. And this type of marketing helps to strategically position your ads for conversions so that you can increase brand awareness and you can establish your business as an authority in your industry. You want to make them see your brand, your service as many times as you can within that next couple weeks from when they're first being introduced to you on social media or on your website. And then another valuable tool for nurturing is online reviews. And online reviews act very similar to influencers, but rather than getting the endorsement from one person, you're getting the endorsement from dozens or hundreds or thousands of people. And online reviews are really, really important for businesses with sites that are out there like Better Business Bureau and Consumer Trust Reports and all these sites now. I mean, online reviews, usually when people think of that, they think of something like Amazon where it's only for products. But there are places where people leave online reviews for services, for software, for things that are much beyond just e-commerce products. And so it's really, really important that you develop a mechanism for curating, for collecting online reviews, and for showcasing them to prospects. Because when you can flash a dozen or even 100 reviews on a single page to a prospect, that is going to work instantly to build trust and nurture them into becoming a customer. So each review and testimony posted online by a customer is a form of advertising for your business. And when your business name and a product and service are positively promoted to users on your website and or on other websites, your business is rewarded with increased awareness, visibility, trust, and sales. So that is how we nurture people according to step 2.
Well, now let's jump into step 3. We've covered step 1, which is the step where you're looking for, you're seeking out, you're doing the seek, the qualify, and the target. And then we've covered step 2, which is where we're engaging, we're nurturing, we're educating, we're looking to get someone to become interested, engage them. And then ultimately step 3 is the call to action. So let's talk about some ways that that step 3 that we've found work well for step 3. Well, one is special offers. Once you have someone in a webinar or you've engaged them on a landing page, then what we found is some kind of offer or call to action is critical. And when you offer things like discounts, specials, perhaps coupons, you draw more people into your business, and there's increased traffic that leads to ultimately conversions and sales. So your customer will not only look to buy your promoted items, but ideally you want them to know all the services and all the products and services that you offer to allow them to explore that and to purchase add-ons and upgrades. So offering a special offer during a webinar or as a downloadable is a best practice. The next item is free downloadables. one of the best ways to engage and to get people to take that next step is to offer them an educational piece, a downloadable, what we call it a lead magnet. It's a digital gift that people receive by signing up for your list. And this is much more effective than just asking people to give them your email address, because you're giving them something of value. You're educating them. You're telling them more about the product, the service, why it's different, why there's value. And it also helps to nurture leads so that they can take action. So here we have an example free download, social media content calendar template. So it's a template, or it could be a book, tips for how to buy XYZ product or service. Another one is reference sheets and checklists. So for example, if somebody is in the market, let's say for an air conditioner, there might be tips on what to look for. If they're looking for a dentist, what to look for in a good dentist. So some kind of a reference sheet or checklist that's great to help people through that buying process. It can also help them, you can make a generic list as well to help them with ongoing or everyday tasks. What are 3 things that very effective people do every day? Those kinds of downloads are very effective. The second one is templates. Templates are great tools that you can use to, the audience can then implement to take action more easily. So it might be a template that maybe it's a sample calendar for a highly effective person, or it might be perhaps it's a diet plan if you're on a special diet. So those templates are another great tool to use. The third, video training. Creating a free video training series that relates to your product or service, or even to your industry, that you can educate and allow that as a downloadable, a giveaway for an email sign up. We've found that those have been extremely successful. Next is samples. If you have a product or service that lends itself to offering samples, samples are another great way to engage customers and prospective customers. By providing product samples, you can eliminate some of that fear factor, allow them to test drive the product risk-free, and sample sizes are often small enough that if the consumer likes the product, they're likely to purchase the full-sized version of the product and share the product with others. So establishing that consumer confidence is that critical step. So there's an example there of an energy bar sample pack for account. So if you have if you're in an industry or have a product or service that lends itself to samples, samples are another great way that you can do that engaging step. The next is ebooks. Ebooks, if you're a professional services organization, publishing company, educational in any way, providing ebooks to explain to prospects about your product, about your service, how to select it, why is it good quality, how to discern and how to make a decision about purchasing a product or a service are very, very popular. If you can Google lists on, if you Google a list, for example, top 10, let's say routers, or top 10 cell phones, those types of lists are very, very popular, and they're great. They make great downloadables. An ebook can be more than that. It can be a short excerpt, could be a chapter, it could be a short ebooklet on a specific topic. Those can provide real value because they educate. They give your leads and your prospects something more valuable and informative than just a checklist or an infographic. It can show authority. It can show your expertise on a particular subject matter. And then once it's written and available, it can be used all over the web to grow your email subscriber list, to build your reputation, and to invite people to take action. It's surprising how effective a small ebook can be, and it can be forwarded easily to somebody else. So let's say I download it, I like it, I can forward it on to my friend, and they're going to learn about your product and service as well. So ebooks, don't forget about ebooks. The next is chatbots. More and more businesses are using chatbots as calls to action to answer common questions, make sales, save time. For instance, if you implement it on your website, they can provide a quick means for automated answers to most common questions, and it prevents customers and even prospects from waiting a day or longer to receive responses they need for making a purchase decision, because they're asking the question right then. You want to be able to have a quick answer, and the AI in chatbots is getting better and better all the time. So that's something that you may want to look into, adding onto your website to engage prospects as they land there. Well, now let's talk about the whole the process from end to end. Gregory, tell us how it works.
That is a great question. We want to see the visual. You want to see how all of this gets put together into one digital lead generation vortex. We're going to show that right now. So here is how it works. So putting all the steps together, we are going to start with step one in attracting and nurturing the new leads. And this first step starts by taking retargeting, starts by taking lookalike lists, starts by taking interest-based targeting. And we're going to promote an ad that will take someone to a webinar. And notice we're going to be using video in our content marketing to promote this webinar. And we're going to promote a lot of value in that ad. We're going to try to attract them as quickly as we can to go over to the landing page and see what we are advertising, see what we are promoting to help them to solve a pain point that they have. And once they click that ad that starts with all the things that we put together, good audience targeting, good research, good content marketing, good advertising, using social media optimization, we then bring them to a landing page that we talked about is so important for prospects to see. And look at this landing page. Notice how it has a recognizable logos on that, and we're starting to build trust, and we're showing people exactly what they're going to learn, and we're giving a good brand promise that we're going to allow people to build an evergreen sales machine. And this says grow your income and packed an audience on autopilot with YouTube. And this is the type of marketing, the type of promises that we want to make because we know we can deliver on them. And we're, again, addressing pain points. We're getting them to sign up with their email address by registering. And once they sign up, we now also have their email. So we can reach them again and again via email targeting. So these are already two strategic steps that have attracted and begun to nurture. Then where we really start to do the nurturing is in a live or pre-recorded webinar. If there's something about going live that just scares you and you're like, that's just too much for me right now, you can actually work with professional teams to help you create pre-recorded webinars that feel like they are live when they are attended by prospects. And you don't get the benefits of being able to say hello to certain names and people who are entering, but you and answering questions in real time. But it can still be a powerful way to nurture people. So of course we do recommend the live one because it does allow you to have that real time interaction with these prospects. And that webinar, you're going to have a whole hour with people who are interested in what your business promotes, what your business offers, the products that you have. And then once you have that webinar, you start hitting hard with remarketing, automated follow-up emails, calls to action, links that bring them to chat bots that help them do Q&A. And this just puts it all together. And you can continue to offer free ebooks, send them blogs, send them new videos that you're promoting because now you have their email address. And you just continue to send them all that your company is putting out to nurture, and also sending out aggressive calls to action to get them to take action with your product or service. So this is an overview, a bird's eye view of how all these things work together. But notice that we're not attacking these things individually. We're not just saying, oh, we need a landing page, let's do a landing page. Oh, we need ads, let's do ads. But we're thinking, how do they all tie in together? And how does the first step lead to the second step, lead to the third step? That is what this digital lead Vortex does. It thinks through the whole process from start to finish so that you can attract leads, nurture leads, and close leads on an ongoing, consistent basis on a way that is powerful, that is relevant, and that is efficient for you. And just to show you again the overview of this digital lead generation funnel, you could see again, step 1, target, seek, qualify. We have digital advertising, SEO, landing pages, social media targeting, content marketing. Then we move them to step 2, engage, nurture, educate, live webinars, automated emails, influencers, remarketing, reviews. And then we move them to step 3, special offers, free downloadables, samples, ebooks, and chatbots. And a lot of these things work together so beautifully and they integrate so well, because even at the end of a webinar, you can give special offers. You can give them special deals that are exclusive to live attendees of that webinar. And so one step, if it's just strategically approached like this, one step will lead into the next step like a beautiful orchestration. Just think of the most beautiful orchestration harmonies and melodies that you've ever heard and how they go together. Nothing clashes, but each thing flows to the next thing so that your business benefits and sings a beautiful song. And so that is our process moving through 1, 2, and 3.
And before we go on to the next slide, let me just address as well how through each step you can prevent losing leads or prospects. In the first part of the funnel, in the seek, target, qualify, many businesses are losing leads because they're not doing it effectively. They're not getting the most value they can out of their advertising, digital advertising, because they don't know how to do it right. They're spending money, they're not getting it, they're losing the prospects that they could have been able to get if they'd been doing it the right way, by knowing how to use the advertising engines to be able to tune in to the right audience and not getting the wrong audience. In the second part of the funnel, in the engage, the nurture, and the educate, people are losing and companies are losing leads because they're not doing a good job of nurturing, of educating, and of engaging people in that step. Just asking for an email address or dumping someone on a homepage is going to cause that lead to be lost. So step 2, the way you prevent that is by doing proper landing pages, testing them, and creating events, creating education that is going to engage people, such as webinars or ebooks. And then the third is the call to action. Wow, how many times have I watched something and there's no call to action at the end? So there has to be all 3 steps, and so they're losing people because they're not giving effective calls to action. So that's how you can avoid losing leads and losing prospects through each step of the funnel. So now let's go on to part 3, why you should get help setting up and running a digital lead generation vortex. So, let's address questions like, can I create a digital lead generation vortex on my own? How do I get started? How quickly can an agency get this set up so that I'm no longer losing these valuable leads? So let me just go through each of these. So how can someone like a Trinet help you? Well, we help because we can take a look at your particular business or organization. We can take a look at the audiences that you want to reach, and we can determine, based on the audience and the type, what is the best platform that you should be using as a mechanism to find those new leads and prospects. So we can help you with strategic digital roadmaps, with pivot consulting. If you're changing because of the changing economic times, and you need to change what your business is doing and how you're approaching reaching people digitally, we can help you with that. We can create these vortexes, these digital prospecting vortexes, help you with how to get the most out of your digital advertising, but more importantly, how to tie all these pieces together so that they work together and in a holistic way. We can help you with email list growth, email automation, and website redesign. So, on the next slide, we ask the question, can I do this? Can you do this by yourself? Well, yeah, you can set this up yourself, but do you know how to use each of the steps and how to optimize each of the steps well enough so that you're doing it properly and you're not losing those leads and those prospects? Often what we see is when people try to do it themselves, they have limited success, they get mediocre results. So I would encourage you, give us a call. We're happy to chat with you about about how your specific business and how you can use a digital lead vortex to create this holistic end-to-end implementation, and how to plan for it and how to do it the right way. And then we bring to the table deep knowledge and experience with each step to help you really maximize your lead yield and your ROI. And on the next slide, we talk about how important it is to have a strategy first, to go out with a strategy and make sure you're doing it in a strategic way. It can make the difference between a 3 to 5% return on investment versus a 300 to 500% return on investment. And these are some of the numbers that we've seen from our clients. So let me do a key summary and a takeaway. So let me summarize for you. What are some key takeaways? Number one, a digital lead generation vortex really ties different digital marketing tools and strategies together to maximize, to skyrocket those efforts, to attract, to nurture, and to close leads. Number two, it's really important to know how to design audience targeting, because you can waste a lot of time and effort and money if you don't do this right on these platforms. How to create the right type of landing page, and how to structure an online campaign and tie it together in such a way that you're not wasting your time and your money. Number three, we talked about live webinars, automated emails, and influencers and remarketing, and how these tools plus tools like online reviews are a really, really powerful way to nurture leads online and ultimately get them to the point where they turn from a lead to a prospect to a customer. Number four, it's important to have strong calls to action and follow-ups, in particular in a digital funnel or in a digital vortex, because that's the place where you're going to get those 7 touches that Gregory talked about, those 7 marketing touches. And it's through the automated follow-up that can help you to do that, to attract, nurture that audience, and to help you to close leads. And number 5, get professional help to help you link and tie those steps in your digital vortex together to form this end-to-end vortex to attract, nurture, and close leads on an ongoing basis. So that's our presentation for today. We're open for questions. So it's time to launch your digital lead generation vortex. And love to have some, if you have any questions, feel free to type them into the question box, and be happy to answer any that come up.
And as you're typing your questions, I just did want to give you the free gift that we had just exclusively for everyone who attended today. We are actually going to give you this entire presentation as a PDF to serve you as a roadmap, to serve you well so that you can start putting these pieces together and that you can have a go at crafting and strategizing your online digital lead generation vortex. So look on the screen right now. You should see a file appear. Just go ahead and download that. If you want to look on the left rail, if there's something that says files, go ahead and click that. This whole presentation, let it be your roadmap. And we put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of strategy. This is really the culmination of years and years and years of digital marketing experience, what we've seen works best, how we can see ongoing leads attracted, nurtured, and closed on an ongoing basis. And so go ahead and take this, use it. It's for you. We want to serve you well, especially as you seek to get more leads online. And then also, We do have just a special offer for everyone only on this webinar. Ron has offered to open up his calendar for an entire hour for anyone who wants in-depth consulting. So we want to give you a free consultation offer there. And so go ahead, if you would like to make good use of that, click that button, head over to our website, fill out the contact form, mention that you were a part of this webinar, and you will get Ron his personal touch and expertise on any questions that you have that you want to go more in depth on other than the Q&A in this presentation. So please use that. It's a busy time for a digital agency, as you can imagine, but we want to help you. Ron wants to help you. So those two things, the file, the presentation, and that consultation are there exclusively for you as an attendee of this webinar. So now let's get to some questions. I see some there.
Before we get to the question, I'd like to I'd like to extend a special offer as well. If you mentioned that you watched this webinar, for the next 30 days, we'll offer a 10% discount on any Trinet consulting or services that are purchased in the next 30 days after you've watched this webinar. So just mention that you've watched this webinar. So an extra special offer.
Oh, hey there. I mean, that is extra special. Didn't know that was coming, but now look, there it is for you. All right. Well, let's get some questions answered. We see this one from Kara. How do I staff a chat box? I can't sit by the computer for hours to be there to instantly answer a question.
Good question. One of the nice things about a chatbot is that the chatbot uses artificial intelligence to attempt to answer some of the most common questions and answers. And they're getting pretty good. Of course, you have to, in advance, anticipate the most common questions, and you'll know based on your business what some of the most common questions might be that you either get via a website or when people call in. So you'll want to have those prepared. And so it's always, but of course, it's always a good idea on any chatbot to have an option for someone to talk to a live person to avoid that end user frustration. And the good news is that most chatbot systems today do have the ability to be able to schedule different people to be on call during different hours of the day. And so when a message comes through, you can just have it forwarded directly via SMS text to your cell phone wherever you are, or whoever is covering that particular block of time. So you don't have to be sitting by the computer to be able to answer that question. There's ability to be able to have to set up a schedule, and that during certain times of the day, it'll forward the questions to different people's cell phones, depending on who's on schedule. And as long as people are just make sure that they know what their schedule is. So that's one way to handle that and to avoid having to sit at the computer to answer those types of questions. You can handle them just on the fly wherever you are.
Yeah, great question. Barbara asks, which social media platforms and which types of social media targeting have you found worked best for your clients?
Good question. In terms of social media platforms, it depends. The answer is it depends. It depends on which type of audience we're trying to reach. For example, for our nonprofit clients, we've had really excellent results reaching high net worth individuals as potential donors on LinkedIn as compared to Facebook, for example, or Instagram. On the other hand, for our corporate clients, we've had excellent results with product and service marketing and even franchisee marketing for supplements on Facebook, on Instagram, but not so great on LinkedIn, which is why earlier on I made the mention that there's a couple of factors to look into. What is the product and service? What is the audience? and where is the audience we're trying to reach most likely to live. So those need to be taken into account. In terms of the second part of the question, the social media targeting methods, we've found, and there's a variety that we covered in this, from interest marketing to lookalike marketing to remarketing. Those are all different mechanisms that you can use on platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram as a mechanism to try to target. As a general rule, we've found across the board some of our best results have been through using lookalike. I call it a modified lookalike audience, where we started first with a seed list of existing customers, and then we used that to find people in the larger population who had similar characteristics, and then we refined that through further filters. We've generally found that has yielded the best results. So good question.
Rosa asks, there are so many advertising tools. How do I figure out which one I should use?
Yes, there's a lot of choices out there, everything from digital advertising on platforms like Facebook and Instagram, YouTube advertising, SEO, pay-per-click. The best way, and I hinted at this earlier, the best way is consider the product and the service, consider the audience, and then set up some tests, set up some mini tests, run them, and then optimize those to get the best results. We've very rarely found that you can hit a home run just first time out. You often have to come up with a hypothesis, test it, refine it, and then build on that. And it takes some time to do that, because it depends on the product and the service. So for some products and services, Facebook and Instagram work best. For others, LinkedIn. It really is dependent on the audience and where they're at and how you have to reach them. And I mentioned, the best way is to start out to try some approaches, test some approaches out, do some small test campaigns, and then monitor and optimize that, and then focus on using the method that gets the best real world results, and use good statistical analysis to help you figure out how to do that. And there's several good techniques. You can use A/B testing, champion challenger testing. A/B testing, what that means is when you put out there two different options, and then you send them to the same or a similar audience, and then you figure out over a period of time which one is the winner, and then you put all the rest of your marketing dollars on the winner. Champion challenger is when you already have an existing campaign, and so you're putting up another test campaign on a much smaller scale to test if that small sample does better than the champion, and if it does, then you incorporate that into the champion. So there's a variety of techniques to do that. We can help you with that. Both of them require good, I'd say, marketing campaign tracking engines to be able to do that, and a good knowledge of statistical analysis. So, get help to do that, unless you've got a degree in marketing and statistics. So good question.
Sid asks, which works better to get people engaged, webinars or free downloads? Generally, let's see, we found ebook downloadables get the most email, or e-downloadables tend to get the most emails if you're looking to grow the email list. But it seems that webinars actually do a better job of ultimately getting the sale. So our theory is that ebooks get a few minutes of somebody's immediate attention, but webinars on average get longer attention spans and longer engagements. And our theory is the longer the engagement, the better ultimately the conversion. So if your goal is just to get emails but not necessarily sales, then ebooks may be
may be a good choice. If ultimately you want to get more sales, it may be a better idea to use webinars, since those seem to ultimately, while you do get an email when somebody signs up for a webinar, it seems like ultimately the conversions end up being better on those in the long run. Good question.
This is a great question from Kara. How is a lead generation vortex different from other types of lead generation techniques?
Well, the difference between just a lead generation process and a lead generation vortex is that not on step one, it uses multiple avenues to attract leads, not just one. So for example, if you're just using emails, for example, to bring in new leads, that would be the example of one. But if you're using, let's say, ads on Facebook, on LinkedIn, you're using pay-per-click, you're using search engine optimization, those are multiple ways that potential prospects are coming in. So that's one difference. The second is in step two. The focus on using live and replay webinar events as a way to engage with prospects is different than just asking somebody for an email address or sending them to a landing page that doesn't have a call to action. So webinar events tend to get better engagement. You can show enthusiasm. You can get the passion across that is very difficult to do in many other ways. And this helps engage leads that might otherwise be lost. The third way that a vortex is different is on the back end, on step three. Follow-up is programmatically automated but tied in end to end, which helps to catch many leads that might otherwise be lost. That's why we call it a vortex, because it's bringing people back time and time again for those 7 touch points that Gregory had mentioned earlier.
Excellent. And I see a new question came in from Sid. Seems straightforward. Why can't I just set up my own ad campaign in LinkedIn or Facebook?
You can, but getting good results and a good return on investment or ROI out of a campaign is not as straightforward as you might think it is. A good analogy is, can anyone learn to ride a bike? Sure. But can anyone win a bike race? Not everyone's going to win the bike race. That's what there's a lot more to know how to use digital advertising engines that are offered on platforms like Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram than meets the eye. As a general rule, when you go into those engines, the default settings and options, the interest audience, the default stuff is generally doesn't get you very good results. There's billions of dollars of ad funds that are being squandered by businesses on Facebook, Instagram, and Google ad campaigns because they just don't know how to use the platforms to get the best results and to reach the right audiences. And secondly, a vortex has multiple steps. And unless you're linking them all together and optimizing them and using some of these automation features, it's not so straightforward to do that. So it's wise to get some professional help. So the answer is, just like riding a bike, can you ride a bike by yourself? Yes. But the question is, are you going to win the race? And that's what you need to consider.
And we want you all to win the race. And so please leverage the things that we've provided, the presentation PDF, as well as the consultation, and even the bonus 10% offer. And we really do want to help you. We want to continue connecting with you. And other than that, thank you so much for being a part of this. And Ron, is there anything else that you want to leave with our attendees before we finish here?
Yeah, it's time for you to launch your digital lead generation vortex, and give us a call. We'd be happy to help you do that.
All right, well, go get it. go launch your digital lead generation Vortex, and we would be happy to be a part of it. Thank you for attending this, and have a wonderful rest of your day.